If Trump caves on wall funding, it's probably the end of his presidency, says Lindsey Graham, as he cannot be an effective president if he retreats from his signature campaign promise. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is counseling President Trump to stand firm in his fight for a border barrier and warned Wednesday evening that capitulation would be the end of the first-term executive's presidency. Appearing on Fox News on Wednesday evening, Graham declared, "If he gives in now, that's the end of 2019 in terms of him being an effective president. That's probably the end of his presidency. Donald Trump has made a promise to the American people. He's going to secure our border," the senior senator said. Retreating on Trump's signature campaign promise would damage the Republican Party as a while, Graham advised colleagues on Capitol Hill who believe their leader should concede the issue to Democrats. "That's the end of us if we give in on this issue as Republicans," he asserted. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is counseling President Trump to stand firm in his fight for a border barrier and warned Wednesday evening that capitulation would be the end of the first-term executive's presidency. A Border Patrol officer inside his vehicle guards the border fence at the U.S. side of San Diego, California, as seen from Tijuana, Mexico, on Wednesday. Trump wants to replace fencing like this with a steel slat barrier. Graham has the president's ear and visited the White House over the weekend, when the president remained in Washington. "Trump is not going to budge on the border wall," he said. Graham has the president's ear and visited the White House over the weekend, when the president remained in Washington to share in the pain of the government shutdown rather than party at his Palm Beach mansion with family and friends. He told Fox that he doesn't believe the president is going to budge on his border security demands. "He's not going to sign a bill that doesn't have money for the wall. I can tell you exactly how this is going to end. The president is going to challenge Democrats to compromise, and if they continue to say no, they're going to pay the price with the American people," he asserted. Counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway similarly said on Thursday morning that Trump will only sign something that truly secures the border, and a bill that Democrats plan to pass today as their first act in Congress does not do that. "It doesn't reopen the government for homeland security," she claimed. One bill funds closed areas of the government through the end of the current fiscal year. Its companion appropriates money to the Department of Homeland Security only until February 8. Democrats and their Republican counterparts came to the White House at the president's invitation on Wednesday afternoon for a border security briefing and negotiation in the Situation Room. The two sides left conversation angrily pointing the finger at one another for the partial government closure. Conway claimed that soon-to-be House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer were very rude and dismissive during the briefing conducted by the Homeland Security Secretary via satellite. "That was really poor form, but the president has graciously invited them back here tomorrow," she said of the president's request that lawmakers return on Friday. She said the shutdown cannot end with Democrats harumphing their way in the Situation Room, as she contended they were on Wednesday. "I hope that they'll get serious about negotiating," she concluded. Democratic leaders left the White House on Wednesday unconvinced by the president's arguments that a border wall is necessary for national security. They left a briefing on the border early, Republican leaders revealed, and interrupted and argued with Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. The meeting ended at an impasse, with the president inviting attendees back Friday for more talks after leadership elections have taken place. His White House believes that Pelosi will be more amenable to giving him the funds once she's formally elected Speaker. Speaking to NBC News, Pelosi said that will not be the case. "We can go through the back and forth," she said in an interview that aired on Thursday morning. "No. How many more times can we say no? Nothing for the wall. There is no amount of persuasion he can do to say to us, 'We want you to do something that is not effective, that costs billions of dollars.' That sends the wrong message about who we are as a country," she contended. Schumer urged the president during a White House press conference to reconsider his own position on bills to reopen the government. "At our last meeting," the president said, "I am going to shut the government down. They are now feeling the heat. It is not helping the president. It is not helping the Republicans to be the owners of this shutdown," he said. Today we gave them an opportunity to get out of that and open up the government as we debate border security, and to say to them, because he says he won't sign it, and use the government as hostage, and just give in, the American people don't want that, that's bad for our country. The White House says a pair of bills that Democrats are backing that would end the shutdown are a non-starter because they do not fund the border wall. Incoming House Majority Whip Steny Hoyer said they would move forward with them, anyway. Because that is our responsibility, as a co-equal branch of government, he said. We want the president to open up government. We are giving him a Republican path to do that. Why would he not do it? He asked. Democrats have proposed legislation that would fund every closed area through the end of the current fiscal year, except the Homeland Security Department. A bill that Pelosi, the expected Speaker of the House, will put on the floor Thursday extends funding for DHS until February 8, providing Trump and the new Congress with an opportunity to continue talks while the government hums along. Before she could gavel in the new legislative session, the White House deemed the strategy dead on arrival, indicating in a late-night statement that Trump is resolved to keep the government closed until Congress appropriates money for his border wall. The Pelosi plan is a non-starter because it does not fund our homeland security or keep American families safe from human trafficking, drugs, and crime, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said. Democrats and Republicans continued to be at odds on Wednesday after their White House briefing. Incoming House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy came out of the Situation Room and over to a group of reporters to bash Pelosi and Schumer. He said that Trump had invited them back on Friday after the leadership races because it was a concern for some people to be able to get through in a jab at Pelosi. I was a little disappointed with, I would say some on the other said, McCarthy said. Once the secretary started, Sen. Schumer, interrupted her, and they really didn't want to hear it. And they challenged some of the points the secretary made. McCarthy said Democrats wanted to go on with their bill, and did not want to hear the briefing. Still, he said he believed they could come to an agreement quite quickly to reopen the government, as soon as Pelosi is elected. President Trump affirmed in an evening tweet that he wants to continue talks with Democrats to reopen the government. I remain ready and willing to work with Democrats to pass a bill that secures our borders, supports the agents and officers on the ground, and keeps America safe. Let's get it done, he said. A second message argued that his border wall is the only way to secure the nation's southern border. Sadly, there can be no real border security without the wall, he said. Trump had insisted at a cabinet meeting earlier in the day that Democrats have their eye on 2020 and that's why they're refusing to approve border wall funding. Trump said in his first convening of his cabinet of 2019 that the border is like a sieve and the United States needs a physical barrier to prevent as illegal immigrants from coming in. We are in a shutdown, because Democrats refuse to fund border security, he contended. Conway said Thursday as she spoke to reporters that Trump shouldn't be faulted for the breakdown in talks, because he is at least open to a conversation. But this president, give him his due, he's willing to have him here, she said. Trump told Democrats in a meeting last month that he would be proud to oversee a shutdown but has since blamed the two-week closure on the opposing party. He doesn't own this shutdown any longer, Conway insisted. House Republicans passed a bill before the end of the last Congress, she argued, that provided roughly $5.70 bill all at once for the president's border wall. She said that it was the Senate, which has also passed a bill that Trump says he won't sign, that needs to do its job. The Senate is run by Republicans but their majority is too slim to pass legislation without the help of 7 Democrats after today's inaugurations.